This is XL 10 Minute Leaders Live. We are live. My name's Graham Brown, joined in the studio by Gabrielle Ianniello, founder of the Adulting Manual and host of the Corporate Quitter podcast. Gabby, welcome to the show, all the way from New York.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. Good evening to you. Good morning from Singapore in Asia. We've got 10 minutes together. Gabby, are you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready to go.
All right, let's start with the formalities. I'm sure you're somebody who has many feathers in your quill, so let's start with the formality here. What does it say on your business card, Gabby?
So interestingly enough, I actually tend to lean more towards like the millennial and Gen Z, what they kind of like. So I have my social handles. I do have my email, but I mostly lean towards like TikTok and Instagram because that's where the people are going. Emails kind of, it's not dying, but you know how it is. You get like tens of thousands of emails a day. So you just got to go where the people are going.
You have to. What are you doing on TikTok? Are you dancing or are you giving out advice?
Just throwing everything out there. I've actually hit 5K views on a video from the other day, and I was not expecting it. It was one of those that I was talking about, how we've subscribed in life to kind of purchasing the home and going to, college and doing all those traditional things. Whereas my model and with the Adulting Manual and Corporate Quitter is trying to deviate from the standard and really, hitting head on like finding what your passion is and living above the 9 to 5.
People are questioning, aren't they? The traditional route to success, quote unquote, that especially the millennials, I suppose the oldest millennial now is 40 years old, but all that generation, all the way down to Gen Z as well, people are looking at the 9 to 5, the corporate success, the ladder, the house, the car, everything. What sort of conversations are coming up now with the people in your network and the people that follow you?
I found that just a lot of people are very frustrated because they're working crazy hours, and it's not like it used to where, you go to your job from 9 to 5 and you can go home and that's it. It's now, especially with working remotely, it's become where instead of a 40-hour work week, it's now 50, 60, 70 hours is the norm. And if we're not getting paid more, the housing market is going up. It's just frustrating. So people were starting off by exploring side hustles, but now they're recognizing like, oh my God, I can actually make this a full-time thing, or I can leverage multiple side hustles to create the same exact financial reality I have now, but on my own schedule, basically.
So is the answer to all of that to start a side hustle to earn more money? Is that the way out? Because it seems, for example, affording their first home, the numbers, the multiples now are record levels. How many years they would have to work, if ever they could make it, to get that down payment. What is the answer to this rat race?
I don't think there's like a one size fits all. I actually really enjoyed working in corporate for what it was. I learned a ton. I saved a ton of money. I paid off my student loans because of it. But you are not going to become a millionaire by putting money in the bank in a savings account. Like you have to start really thinking as an entrepreneur, think outside the box. And in this day and age with the internet, you can do really anything, whether that's flipping houses, again, investing in the stock market. Maybe it's that way and you retire. But I think people are looking for more challenge, and it's coming up in the way of creating podcasts, making courses, like doing things that really excite them and makes a ton of money.
Okay. When the critics think and talk about your audience, millennials, Gen Z, and I mean the critics, the boomers, in the pejorative. I know they're always used in that. The boomers is always a bit of a put down. I reference my 15-year-old son. So when they think about that generation, what do they get wrong about them? What do they misunderstand about this generation generally? And you understand better than them, that maybe you can help us reframe our understanding.
I think the very first thing that a lot of people can think of is the term of lazy. And it's not that some people are definitely lazy. I know people who are definitely, milking things a bit. But I also think that we are in an age where the market is extremely high. The value of the dollar is extremely low, and we can't rely on a single income like we used to, what that generation had relied on. And so we have to become extremely creative in the ways that we make money. And we're not willing to settle for like things that don't fit our lifestyle or for honestly paying our bills and student loans, which they didn't have growing up. So I think it's just, we're not lazy. We're just trying to be creative and figure out, anything that we can do to really leverage all of this.
Yeah, they do tend to get labeled as a lazy generation or entitled.
Yeah, big one for that. A lot of trophies and stuff growing up. So
exactly. But do they have the resilience, that hard work ethic that the older generations tend to think they have? Whether or not that's true, I think one of the criticisms of the generation now growing into financial services, target market, now people starting their careers, is that the older generations tend to feel they don't have that kind of that stickiness, that persistence. They give up too easily, or they don't have that backbone to help them through the hard times. They've never really faced crisis. Is that true? Are they slightly softer? Are they slightly more spoiled?
I would say, I don't want to, maybe, yes, but I also think it's unfair to judge two different generations because we live in completely different times. Like back then, they didn't have the internet like we do now, right? That's a pro and a con. And they also maybe went through the Great Depression and maybe the era of not having the internet, where if you had to figure something out, you had to basically read the paper or, get out an encyclopedia or ask someone versus like us going to Google. So I think it's unfair to really judge the two.
Media likes to judge though. Media likes to
you got to pick a side, right? That's how the news works. But
exactly. It's very divisive in that sense. Okay. What I want to know is that your story leading up to this as well. You mentioned that you had a corporate life. Are you a corporate quitter yourself? Tell us a bit about your background and how that feeds into what you're doing now.
So I actually went to school to be a teacher and realized really quickly that wasn't going to work for me. Went to corporate, jumped in a bunch of different careers. I did real estate, residential real estate. I did marketing, commercial real estate. I was in financial services for capital markets and treasury, ad tech, you name it. I've probably been in it. And, it lent to a lot of really great transferable skills. But I felt after about 5 or 6 years in corporate, I was just very capped in the way of creativity, responsibility, challenges, and money. And it took until this past February or January, I should say, 2021, I had a foot injury. And it came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm actually thrilled about this because I don't have to go to work. And that was obviously a giant red flag. Like if you're thrilled about getting hurt just so you don't have to go to work, that's a problem. So then I realized, okay, I need to redefine what success is, because for years I thought that was the corporate ladder and the 6-figure salary and the, brownstone apartment in Upper Manhattan. And I left it all behind to redefine what success is and to basically start this entrepreneurial journey.
So how do you define success now?
Enjoyment. I know that's like very cliche, but I did not enjoy working in corporate as much as I thought I did. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I was rushing around all over the place. I never had time for my family. And I thought that was a normal sacrifice to make. But then I realized very quickly that wasn't the life I wanted to live. I didn't want to be a parent at 35 and I was living at the office and I'd get to only see my kid as I put them to bed and someone else was taking care of them during the day. Like I wanted to be here to live life, not to let it pass by.
But is it possible to have enjoyment and make money?
Totally. I mean, that's the name of the game. That's what I'm up for. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, let's do this then. We've got 2 minutes left. What I want to do is give the stage to you to teach us something that can change our lives for the better. Us means the audience, not just this boomer sitting here, but Gen X, sorry. Can you teach us something in 2 minutes that we can take away as transferable skills?
Definitely. So in the way of growing a business, I would say, people rely on ads and all of these things and gimmicks and whatnot. The number one way to build super fans and to really build a lasting brand is to connect with people and really focus on building community. And the way that works is having, in the easiest form, social media, having authentic conversations. So, instead of scrolling and liking all these pictures and really being spammy in the way of like mass commenting emojis, like really take a moment, figure out who your ideal audience is in the way of profiles and have those conversations and DM them, really, really put yourself out there, and you'll find that those people will also reciprocate and you'll have a relationship, that will maybe end up as a paying client or someone who will refer you to, better opportunities. So that I think is the number one thing I've found right now in marketing my business and success is through those authentic communications and those connections, because those can't be bought.
Exactly. And that's what people want these days,
more
than anything.
Yeah.
And you can't copy it.
Nope. And consumers are not stupid. We have been sold lies in the past, right? That like cigarettes are good for us and all these things. But at this point, we want authenticity. And so that's the name of the game, is being real.
Gabrielle Ianniello, great to have you on the show. Where do we find out more about you?
You can find me on Instagram at She Likes to Gab. My business is also theadultingmanual.com and corporatequitter.com for the podcast.
Gabby, thanks for coming on the show today and sharing that with us.